All right, so today we're going to look at the basics of exponents. And what does the basics of exponent looks like? So an exponent is when you have a number that is raising a base number. And so the 9 is known as the base. The 4 is known as the exponent, or what's also known as the power. And so we have a 9 raised to the 4th power. And so what that really means is that you have the base number 4 times. And so this is simply written out as 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Now if you multiply it, you get a really big number. We'll worry about that later. So all we're doing right now is expanding the exponent form out into this. Now you can do the same thing with variables. Here we have the variable a. We're going to raise it to the 5th power, which means we're going to have a 5 times. And so you would end up with a times a times a times a times a. So when you're doing exponents, it's always multiplication. You're always multiplying the base by itself over and over and over. And so ask yourself this question now. How many times would you have to write a 7? I'll give you a second. So right now, you should have said you had to write 7 how many times? And hopefully you're saying 3. So this one would look like 7 times 7 times 7. So that's the basics of the exponent. This tells you what number you have to write over and over. This number tells you how many times you have to write it. So we're going to write 7 over and over and over again. And then we're going to write it 3 times. So next, let's actually evaluate. Now, evaluate is basically another word for solve, or basically give the answer. So where you want what the final answer would be is you actually took this and actually multiplied it out. So first thing is, what number we're going to write over and over on this first one? We're going to rewrite 3 over and over. And how many times are we going to write 3 over and over? Well, we're going to be 3 times. So this one, we have a base of 3 times 3 times 3, and now we have to multiply it. 3 times 3 is 9, and then you multiply it by the last one. 3 times 9 is 27. So 3 to the 3rd power is 27. Next one, our base number is 2. The base is 2, and we have a power of 4. So we're going to write the 2 4 times. So this one's going to give us 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now 2 times 2 gives us 4. 2 times 2 gives us 4. And then we can multiply that together, and that gives us 16. Nice thing about multiplication is it doesn't matter what order you multiply stuff in as long as you multiply it out. Now, the last one. Our base number is a 5, and we have the power of 4. So what that means is you're going to write out 5, and you're going to go times 5, that's 2, times 5, that's 3, times 5, that's 4. And now you get to multiply all this out. And what that gives us then is 5 times 5 gives us 25. 5 times 5 gives us 25. And if you multiply 25 times 25, you get a grand total of 625. Finally, what we're going to look at then is how do you take a long list of the same number over and over and write it as an exponent? So what you have to do then is you have to count how many times we have a 7. So we have 7 once, twice, 3, 4, 5. So our base number is a 7, and our exponent is a 5. So we have 7 to the 5th power. You can do the same thing with variables. You have to count how many times you do the variables. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our base is the letter A, and our exponent would be 6. So we have A to the 6th power. And then finally, one last one. Take 30 seconds to decide how many times, what your exponent number would be is if you have 3 this many times. So what is the base number, and what is your exponent going to be? Take 5 more seconds. All right, so at this point, hopefully you would say that your base number is going to be 3, and your exponent is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be 3 to the 4th power. And so this is the basics of exponents as a nice introduction. And so one of the future lessons will be basically how do you actually work with exponents on multiple levels, decimals, fractions, and just solving some more problems like this. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Have a nice day.